again, and welcome back to the Pregame Network podcast. This is episode 53. I'm once again your host with the most, Dan, joined by my bestest bud in the whole wide world, Anthony.
Hello.
I don't know why I chuckled at the end of that. I just
You
try to
amuse
mix it up
yourself
sometimes in my
quite
intros. Yeah, I
frequently.
do. I do.
Yeah, go for it.
And we're
Until you do
gonna
something terrible where I need to like reprimand you. You can lead us
reprimand
in
me.
however you want.
Yeah, so we're just gonna talk about some gaming stuff and what's been
Mhm.
going on the past week and what we've been playing. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get the show on the road, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump into what I've been playing first. I think you will be pleasantly surprised, actually.
Ooh. Let's
Um,
hear it.
so I've been playing a lot of of Tsushima. I don't know if you've seen that on my profile, like when I'm actually on.
I saw it pop up a couple times, and based on what you told me, I had assumed that you were gonna stick with it because it really it had
Yeah.
grabbed you.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I'm 22 hours in now, and there's so much side content. Like I'm only in the halfway through Act 2. I don't know how many acts there are, but um, I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far. Like I said, it's the last open world game. It's the first open world game I've played since Hogwarts Legacy came out, and that's saying something for me because a lot of the open world format games now, they are pretty formulaic at this point. It's just like basically a giant checkbox, a giant list that you check boxes off of as you go.
Yeah.
You go to this point, complete this thing, or like this many objects or whatever it is. But of Tsushima is one, it's visually captivating. I think it looks gorgeous, and I haven't even played it on my desktop yet. I've really only played it on my laptop.
Yeah.
But it looks really, really good. I'm only playing it
Yeah.
at 1080 on my laptop because I want to get 60 frames out of it.
Hmm.
And if I play it at any higher resolution, then I'm just begging for performance issues. And actually,
Yeah.
my laptop seems to have trouble rendering fire because anytime there's like more than like a campfire going on, like I'm watching a slideshow. It's no longer a game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to play around with the settings a little bit.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, just from seeing it, is that, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is definitely, obviously it's got a realistic art style, but it really
Yeah.
owns it and does its own thing with that, especially
Mhm.
like, I think we talked about it last week where there's a mode where you can play in black and white and do it like
Yes.
the old style of film and all that. It really leans into that aesthetic. There's a lot of games out there nowadays that just like slap it in a realistic engine and just leave it at that, but Ghost of Tsushima kind of owns it for what it is.
Yeah, and I said this last week, but Ghost of Tsushima is 100% a better Assassin's Creed Shadows than Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it's several years older than Shadows right now. Well, not right now. It's older than Shadows, period. Um, but I think like just from watching gameplay of Shadows, but actually getting hands-on with 20 plus hours now of Ghost of Tsushima, uh, it looks so much better. It looks like magnitudes better just because of the way that they one, the art style, which is more realistic. I feel like Ubisoft games are very cartoony now. Um, and two, the big one for me personally is the color palette of Tsushima. It
Hmm.
is just like a Bob Ross painting sometimes,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful to look at, especially during the boss battles and the way that they give you like an intro into if you're gonna have a duel with another samurai or a ronin, and then like it's the same intro every time, but it really leans into like the samurai power fantasy and I I would say like the actual history of the samurai just because of how the lines are delivered, like just the animations, uh, everything about it. It oozes style, and I love
Mhm.
that in the game. And like I don't think that Assassin's Creed could even hold a candle to it because it's just basically creatively bankrupt at this point for an Assassin's Creed game.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is very, very good. I'm still playing it. I only halfway through Act 2, and I'm taking my time with it, just like I have been with all these other single player games that I've been playing. And two thumbs up. Aside from that, I've been playing a lot less of the finals lately. That's kind of taken a back seat. Space Marine 2, it got its hooks in me again, and not anymore since last week. But I've been splitting my time between like Ghost of Tsushima, Space Marine, and Dark Tide as well. They came out with a new event, and I've just been putzing around in Dark Tide, especially since the new Ogryn update. It's like it feels way better to play as the Ogryn. So I've been doing
Yeah.
that. And the other game that I started actually that I got a little bit into more today is Expedition 33.
Get the
And I
fuck
don't
out of
know
here! Did
it.
you really?
Yeah, yeah. So
That is
no,
shocking.
I know, trust me, I know, and I will tell you why. Um, as of this recording, this game is being hailed like as with perfect scores across the board, or like nine out of tens. A lot of
Mhm.
perfect scores, like 10 out of tens across the board. People are saying that it's already game of the year.
Mhm.
Um, Not to mention, I guess I'll get like a news story out of the way now since I'm already talking about this game. But
Mhm.
um, one, I think I posted this today actually. It sold 1 million copies already, and that's just from from sales. That is not including Game Pass downloads. So it's probably more than 1 million people have played this game already, and it
Yeah.
just came out yesterday.
Isn't it novel to get a sales number
Yeah,
after all the fucking
crazy.
games that the
When a game
AAA
actually does
developers
well
like?
and is like made
Yeah.
competently.
You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait like 3 weeks to hear like, oh, there's 4 million players or something. Look how good it did. You just get the
Yeah.
fucking sales number.
So anyway, I'm only about, I would say, maybe 3 hours in, because
Hmm.
I'm really trying to stick with one game at a time. Like I really
Of
want to
course.
finish Ghost of Tsushima before
Yeah.
I really move on to something else. But I wanted to
Makes sense.
see how the game was, how it played. You know my type of game. Like this is not my type of game. It's a
Yeah.
turn-based, what would turn-based RPG, I guess. Like
That's the
how
best
else
way to
would you
put it.
describe it?
That's the
Yeah.
best way to put it.
I have historically hated turn-based games, with the exception of Fire Emblem on the Game Boy SP, I think. Yeah.
Dan, I hate to tell you, but that doesn't cross that. See, those are strategy RPGs. Those are SRPGs. You're not
Oh
quite
my
past that
God.
threshold, I'm afraid.
Fuck you. So yeah, that's Fire Emblem was like the last turn-based game I was actually into, and this was like fucking 20 years ago or something. Like it's been a minute.
Hmm.
So okay, so I guess I'm gonna give my elevator not so review of my 2 hours into the game so far,
Hmm.
because I think that you of all people would appreciate my opinion on this, especially considering the type of game that it is and the type of gamer
Hmm.
that I am. Number one, the music is outstanding. I absolutely love
Hmm.
the music so far. Like just from the opening scene, which was an emotional roller coaster.
Hmm.
I think the music is stellar. I really, really, really like it.
Hmm.
Um, the writing so far, I mean, I'm only 2 hours in, so we'll see how that goes. I really can't comment on that. I like the creature and character designs. It's very like Dark Souls slash Elden Ring, like FromSoft style.
Huh?
Um, say what you will about FromSoft games, their like character and creature designs have always been like great. So
Hmm.
that's something that's really cool. I'm actually having fun with the combat.
Hmm.
And it's because of the QTEs, like
Hmm.
100%. Uh, I've only fought a couple things so far because how far have you gotten into the game?
I'll wait for you to finish before but you
Okay.
can safely say I'm ahead of you.
Yeah. So I've only got to like once the expedition reaches the shore of whatever island they got to. It's only like been a handful of fights, but
Hmm.
it's it's the combat is interactive enough that it's holding my attention. But the last thing that I'll say is I am very intrigued about the story of this game. Like I want to
Hmm.
know why the paintress is doing what she's doing. I
Hmm.
want to know how the expedition is going to end. I wouldn't use the word captivated yet, but I am very intrigued. And it's been a long time since I played a game, like an original game that had an original story that I was very into. Like that's
Hmm.
just kind of not why I game anymore, which is kind of a shame, but
Hmm.
it is what it is. Like Ghost of Tsushima is single player and everything, but the story is very straightforward. Like the Mongols invaded Japan or the island of Tsushima, you have to drive them out. Like it's really not anything that's going to be that deep. So I don't really count that. I guess the last like really good story-driven game that I've played is God of War. If I had
That's
to
not, yeah,
really
that's
take a gander.
well, you played both the regular one and
I
Ragnarok,
have
right? You
not.
played both of them?
I have not beaten Ragnarok yet.
You didn't beat
Um,
Ragnarok.
no, because I started playing it when I was in Oklahoma, and
Mm,
all the shit that happened there, and then when I came back, like then Space Marine came out, and I just kind of fell off.
that's right. The
And
time was a
Ragnarok
little.
is 175 gigs, and like I don't have. I'm not. I can't play like
That's
three card Monty with my PC
that's
right now.
girth. That's
Yeah,
girth.
yeah. Meanwhile, the original game, like the first God of War, is 64 gigs. So I want to know
Yeah.
what the fuck.
Compression is a
Um,
dying art.
yeah. So anyway, I am really digging the just the base premise and setup so far of Expedition 33. I want to
Mhm.
know why the game is called Clair Obscure, but I guess I'll find that out.
Mhm.
And we'll see where it goes. But so far, like I don't hate it, which is probably the highest praise I can give it from me personally.
Okay. Uh, as the one thing I will say is just you want to know what Clair Obscure means. If there is an underlying story meaning just attached to this, I'm not
Yeah.
spoiling anything. It's not. It's I'm pretty sure it just translates to light dark. I think that's
Oh,
all it is.
okay.
I think it's just the tag. I don't know if
Gotcha.
they intend it to tie together with some of the story beats that come later that you'll encounter, but I don't believe it is that important. I think it's
Okay.
just a fancy thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm enjoying it so far. So we'll see how it goes. And just off the basis of like, oh, the game has a phenomenal story.
Mhm.
I'm a fan of story. Like, I want to know how it ends.
You are a cultured
So,
individual. Don't let
indeed,
all the don't let
indeed.
all the Call of Duty camos mislead. My buddy Dan here loves a good digital story.
Ayo. So yeah, that's what I've been playing this week, and I know that you've definitely sunk your teeth into Expedition 33. So
Mhm.
beyond that, I'm sure you have plenty to say about it. So
Yeah,
the floor is now yours.
I was surprised you did. I was gonna have that be my closer, but I'll get right into it. Sure. So Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I have a few complaints. Ken.
Okay. Oh, my one complaint that I did forget to mention the voice, the lip syncing is hot garbage.
Oh, my opinion on the lip syncing, which I guess it's the thing is like you have really two options. You have what they're offering you there. Maybe it works better with the French dub. I don't know which came first, even though I know the English voice actors did the face work. I don't know, but as far as that goes, it's just like you either get like the overdone AAA stuff where they basically wrangle 600 people and lock them into a sweatshop to do it, or you get like
Mhm.
these guys doing it like that. But anyway, I have a few complaints, right?
Naturally,
Um,
as you do, Anthony.
the game, I don't like the how it handles saves, right? It
Okay.
it primarily functions on autosaves, and it has like a
Right.
checkpoint system that you'd see in something like a Dark Souls, and I think that messes with the pacing a little bit, right? I just like making my own saves. It's a nitpick.
You can't
Um,
manually save the game.
yeah, you can't manually save, as far as I'm
Oh
aware.
wow. All right.
It's meant to be autosaves. Um, there's no traditional item inventory for things like curatives and other items. Those work similar to modern ARPGs where you have a set amount that refreshes at checkpoints. I'm sure you noticed.
No, not really.
Okay, okay. But you basically get three items: one for healing, one for reviving, and one for AP, and they refresh every time you go to a checkpoint area.
Okay.
Some of the later story beats, including something that's integral to the final act, not quite to my taste. It's not perfect. And the game uses a three-person party when it really should be four.
Why should it be 4?
It'll like I don't want to spoil anything, but
Okay.
by the time you end up with your final part, like there's some lopsided elements there. I really think it should have been a four-person party.
Okay.
And that's it.
How far
Daniel.
into it are you? How many hours?
I've beaten it.
Oh shit. Okay.
Daniel, I'm going to level with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Clair Obscure Expedition 33 is the kind of killer app I've been waiting for since the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 launched.
Really?
Yes, I can think.
Okay, because you led with like I mean,
Oh yeah,
you're a skeptic, like
yeah,
baseline, which I get.
absolutely.
But the way that you started this review slash critique, whatever you want to call it, I was not expecting that at like
I
for
would
your
I would
closing statement.
I just wanted to get my small little complaints that
Yeah,
I
no,
noticed
that's
along
fine.
the way,
Wow, I'm
right?
shocked.
Um
Wait, so
uh
hold on a second.
yeah,
Back up for a moment.
yeah.
Why is this so good in your eyes? Like what element, like without spoiling anything, obviously, like what elements make this as good as you think it is?
Well, I can think of many good, great, and even downright awesome games that have come out in the last 13 years.
Yeah.
And that mark is deliberate because I consider 2012 to be like the last year of what was the last golden age in gaming, right? Kind of where like
Okay.
there's a cutoff point there. But this is the only new IP that comes to mind that that is something that I am happy with. That's like up to the standards of quality that I expected from like the 360 years, the PlayStation 2 years, and all that, and all when they were just killing it left and right, game after game.
Yeah. Who developed this? It was a studio
Sandfall.
called Sandfall, right?
Yes,
And I would like to point out that Sandfall is comprised of like 30 people.
yeah, it's they had some assistance, but the crazier thing to consider is these are ex Ubisoft employees. Like Ubisoft
Are they?
has
I didn't
had
know that.
yes, you gotta understand like. That just goes to show, like, talent can really just be under the boot of some really fucking stupid
Yeah.
people, right? But
Wow,
anyway,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, anyway. I'm going to be honest, Stan. I look at this game, and it feels like the only one of its kind in that time frame in so many ways. It's inspired by the great JRPGs, but it doesn't have that narrow-minded misunderstanding that happens with like a lot of small teams and indie developers that just trip up a lot of games. It doesn't have any of that. The combat is engaging. It's an engaging take on turn-based RPGs that encourages action, which is the only reason you managed to get 3 hours in. It's an art style that's obviously it has its roots in realism, but the men aren't frumpy, the women aren't ugly, the world is fantastical and varied. You mentioned this, and I'm surprised you did because you know it's a huge sticking point for me. The music is constantly
music,
either
it's
great,
so good.
fitting, or experimental in a good way. That there's not a single track I heard that was boring, bland, or out of place. Like
Just the opening
it is
piano riff
phenomenal.
from the opening scene of the game,
It's great.
Like, so I am not usually an individual who like has an ear for really like video game scores. They all sound like kind of similar to me depending on the game, but there was something about the delivery of the opening scene that really highlighted the opening piano riff in this game, that I was sitting at my desk and watching this cutscene play out, and the piano was playing in the background, but like it almost felt like the piano as an instrument was like front and center in the scene, and it was just so pleasant to listen to. Like I can't say enough good things about that opening track, at least, because I haven't gotten very far into the game, but it, I will listen to video game songs, and at my like for just for the pleasure of listening to it. Like the top 2 games that come to mind as far as soundtracks go that I could listen to at any given time is Cyberpunk and Doom 2016, just because of the way that it's
Doom
written.
2016.
Exactly. I could see myself listening to Expedition 33 just because I like the music.
Yeah, there's I
I
will
feel like
say
that's saying
that
something.
no, yeah, of course. It means a lot coming from you because your scope is a little
Yeah.
different from somebody
Yeah.
in the space. Like I think
Totally
of
agree.
a lot of I think of a lot of the greats in the RPG and JRP space where they have these great soundtracks that you could listen to over and over, or just have casual listening, or you put on a playlist, something that you like. This is up there
Yeah.
with the greats. It is a really good soundtrack. Like I don't want to spoil anything. I've already uploaded 2 soundtrack videos because I actually had to stop playing and said, like, this is good, somebody will get something out of this, and I immediately went and put out these soundtrack videos, right? And I just, like, I'll tell you right now, what I said really is just how it is. It's None of it's boring. None of it's bland. The worst you can say about it is that it's working to fit with what you're looking at, and that's like, so that's not a negative in my book. That's like, okay, that's not for me, but it's fitting the scene perfectly. Works for me. And
You must have been biting your lips so fucking hard when, like, 5 minutes ago when I was talking about how much I like the music without you having said anything.
I was rocking back and forth going, oh, if he only knew the things I have to say. But yeah, no, the soundtrack is great, and it experiments. Like I said, I can gush about it. I'm probably going to do more soundtrack videos as time goes on, but aside from that. And the last thing I didn't really touch on, which you kind of touched on, is the characters and dialogue and story. It's sincere, like through the highs and the lows, the humor and darkness. It doesn't like drown itself in irony or edginess like a lot of these AAA games and a lot of these indie games like to do. There's no like, ooh, I meant to do that moment, or there's no MCU quippiness in there. It's just the characters and everything was just phenomenal. Like Dan, to put it in perspective, all this in perspective, I'm sure, like, you know, when we were younger, when we're, you know, up to, you know, whenever we had free time, I would always, there would be days where it's like I put down everything and I play a game, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously I can't really do that, but this is the first game in, I want to say, like 5-ish years where, like, I was basically falling asleep playing just because I had stayed up past when I normally go to bed playing it. Like, I did not want to put this fucking thing down. Like, it's to the point where, like, I'm running through environments and, like, it's almost like a car veering off the road because I'm falling asleep at the wheel. Like, that's when I put down the game, is when I conked out, right? I hesitate to say this because even though I've beaten the game, I'm expecting some kind of rug pull. I love this fucking game. It is. If
I have to play through it at least once, like, just on that merit alone.
If something beats this game by the end of the year, it just means that we are having a phenomenal year. Like, I can't really quantify, you know, we'll see how it is after time has passed. We'll see how things are in the long term after the honeymoon period ends. And I think it's particularly important for this game because it relies heavily on nailing certain tropes of the genre well, which is something which is like, I don't fall for key jangling all that often, but like JRPG like quirks, like things like camera angles or dynamic music hitting the right way, or you know, cinematics and dialogue happening mid combat. That's a big way to suck me in when it's done right, right? So it's all great polish, and it's something that gets your attention in the short term, but like, how does it stack up through replays and stuff like that? So we'll see what happens. But basically, all I have to say is it's a quality Western RPG styled after the best bits and pieces of JRPGs of the last couple decades. It's a unique, charming world that handles dark topics without getting overly edgy, like I said before, or drenching the entire thing in irony. It can be lighthearted in a way that isn't grating. The characters are fun. It's just, it's just good. Like, there's a certain point where it's like I could sit here and like highlight everything I loved about it, but at the end of the day, it's a good game, and I loved it. I don't know what to say outside of that. I loved it.
I am very excited then to really sit down and play through it, but I gotta finish Ghost of Tsushima first. I'm so far into that game that I can't walk away from it, and I really like it, so like I gotta see it through. But Expedition 33 has been quite the surprise, and I feel like we're finally seeing the fruits of Microsoft's fucking, what was it, 30 or no, how much did they buy ZeniMax for?
A lot.
Yeah, several billion dollars. Like, we're finally starting to see the fruits of that labor pay off. Between Oblivion being shadow dropped, which I'm gonna try that, but I don't see myself sticking with it. Expedition 33, like, Microsoft is finally getting to the good shit.
It's
about time.
It was when I said it was a killer app I was waiting for. It wasn't even, I mean, it's great for Microsoft to have a partner like this. Obviously, it's available on multiple platforms, but this was a Microsoft partner game. I'm playing it on Game Pass, so I'm just elated, like,
same.
To have all this. But
actually, I fired up my Series X for the first time, and I don't even know how long. just so I can install this game and play it. Because
Yeah.
like I could run it on my laptop and my desktop for that matter also, but uh, I am opting for the console experience because one, space constraints on my PCs, and two, like the game is definitely. I mean, I could plug a controller into my desktop. That's not really a big deal, but I just feel like I feel like the way that the game is configured for consoles might just be a better experience. So I just figured I'd install it on my Xbox.
Mm. No, yeah, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, I'm curious to see where Sandfall goes from here, because my biggest concern is whenever a company gets a massive hit, they immediately, like, all the vested interests, they swoop in and they make everything suck. You know, so we'll see what happens. I think the
Yeah.
publisher that worked with them was Kepler,
Yes.
which did Sifu.
Oh, they did Sifu?
Yeah, they did. I think Sifu
Another
was
game
the
that I
first
own
game
that I
they
barely
published.
touched.
They also publish Flintlock, that game that nobody gave a shit about. And I think they did Scorn also. Yeah, I say did, but published. So I think this is
Scorn was a fucking weird one.
I think this is the first universally praised game on such a scale. Like Sifu, obviously people liked it, but like not quite a hit like this. So we'll see what
Oh, yeah.
happens with both
Totally
the
different.
developer and the publisher. I'm just hoping they stay, no meddling, please. It's just the second a success happens, like all the wrong things happen. But hopefully, since a lot of these guys, if not all of them, I think it's just a large chunk of them, not all of them, but like we're from Ubisoft, I would assume they know the dangers of growth and meddling, so maybe they avoid it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Expedition 33 is a quality title, an
Quality
original IP, and just a good game.
I gotta say, man, after, like, that was one of the games I was waiting for, and I'm just like, damn, I can't believe, like,
Yeah.
I was excited for it, and it didn't screw me over in any way yet. So I mean,
Which is
damn,
a massive
that's
fucking victory in
miracle.
today's climate.
Yeah. I haven't felt this way about a game in a while, so I'm very happy about it.
I'm happy that you are happy with it, truly, because
Yeah.
like the amount of times like, oh, I'm super pumped for a game, you're just like, eh. And finally something that we find common ground on.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on from
Hold on.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of swooped into my what were you playing? I just want to get one last thing.
oh
out of the
shit,
way.
that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I did play more of Oblivion Remastered. Really all I have to say about that. I mean, my whole thing is like I'm still in that mindset where it kind of feels like Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, where it's like I've been here before. I will say that based on putting more hours into it as much as I could, because Expedition 33 came out, but I have seen a few things where I'm like, okay, that was changed for an arbitrary reason, or that was something was off about this. There's a lot. Basically, my takeaway is that it's still Oblivion. It has some of the rougher edges around it softened, just so that it's easier to play, a little bit more fluid. Like there's a at a certain point you get like a rolling move right in the original to dodge and get out of the way, and they swap that for like a quick step kind of dashing move, and I'm just like, that's an interesting change you can do. It's a lot more fluid, but there's a lot of smaller changes like that throughout, and not all of them land. I think some of them are just like, some are arbitrary censorship, some are like quality of life that goes a bit too far. I would overall say it is a better handling of the property than Dead Rising was, but it's not perfect enough for me to just blanketly say like, hey, go out and get this, as opposed to the original. I'm sure some people just can't handle the older graphics, but I'm just like, this comes close, not close enough for me to recommend it, even though it, under the hood, is a game that I love very much. So
Yeah, I mean, I was like I've said ad nauseum, I was never an Elder Scrolls fan. I'm willing to jump in and give it a shot, but I don't have high hopes for the fact of me, Dan, like enjoying it.
I mean,
we'll see.
There's a slim chance you'd enjoy it more than the original release all the way back. But my takeaway is this: I think Oblivion is one of my favorite games of all time. Currently, it is in the top 10. Right? I love that game.
Okay.
It's a really good classic game. Who knows what will change over the years when I reevaluate things, but it has been my favorite for a long, long time. And it is a game that I recommend to a lot of people. This remaster, like I said, it sands down some of the rougher edges that the game had, but it's not all positive, and it's not enough to really get people on board. It is, I keep saying this, it's a lot like Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, where it's kind of a mishandling in some cases, and it's not enough to net new players that wouldn't have liked it to begin with, you know?
Mm.
But,
yeah.
all right. I didn't pay for it, so I'm okay with it.
Always a plus.
Yes.
All right. Well, anything else that you've played this week? I mean,
those are two dense RPGs, and that's really that all I've gotten into. And you know, the big one was Expedition 33, which I'm glad we got a lot to talk about. But kind of moving on before you get into your news stories, just because this is kind of attached to it. But I know you linked it, and I was going to bring it up. Is that there was that whole mod kerfuffle over Oblivion
with Oblivion? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned last week about, like, you know, male and female versus body type and all that stuff. And I mentioned to you why I think that matters as far as, you know, priorities in the development room and, like, who's got their hands in what and how it's just an arbitrary change to begin with. But what I love about that is whenever that argument comes up, that conversation, there's always a group of people that go like, oh, why do you care so much? And they you know, even though, you know, they're telling you that you shouldn't care, they will argue with you to the death about why you shouldn't care, kind of defeating the purpose of it being a small change and whatnot. And there have been countless times where mods of different kinds have been essentially banned by Nexus Mods, which is the premier modding site. It's a very large player in that space, Nexus Mods. I would say it's like the one most people gravitate to. You know, you Google mods, and I think it's like one of the first things that comes up is probably Nexus Mods. And if you've ever,
you're right.
Yeah, you definitely haven't before, but I'll just mention now on the news hole where I do the news. Like every other week, there would be like a small story for me to cover where, like, oh, they banned this because, you know, oh, it does something to a particular character, like It's basically like all the typical political leaning stuff you would expect and cultural leaning, like, oh, you want to mod pride flags out of Spider-Man? Can't do that. We're going to ban you. Oh, you want to mod Donald Trump over Captain America and Rivals? We can't do that. We gotta ban you. You want to?
Wait, is that a thing? Is that real?
That's a thing. I think you got to go get it from somewhere that isn't Nexus Mods now because they banned it, but it is a thing. Yeah. What else? There was my
Donald
favorite is
Trump as Captain America.
my fucking favorite. This one I know nobody really cares except for me and people who actually like these things. But there's a lot of retranslation scripts and mods that go up that get taken down because they feature certain topics that, you know, they consider taboo or whatever. And then most recently, obviously the body type stuff that tends to get banned. However, this time the pushback was so loud, and apparently, I didn't know that you could pay Nexus Mods. There's apparently a premium membership. People were canceling
I have a Nexus Mod
memberships.
account for Dark Tide.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's apparently one with a subscription attached to it that people have.
Yeah, it gives you different benefits, but yes, that is accurate.
What are the price range? Are you on that?
I have no idea. I'm not fucking paying for that.
Yeah, I know, that would be insane. The fact that you need an account at all is kind of insane to me. That's already like a step too far. I
was taken back when I found that out. But
yeah.
Yes.
I was too. Like, I actually do. Is this just like people jumping the gun, or is this real? But yeah, apparently people were canceling their subscription memberships because of this, and they ended up caving. And underneath it, there's this lengthy disclaimer about how it's they're basically covering their asses because they're really just pathetic people. And at the same time, they're also, you know, they're begrudgingly doing it. They don't want to do this, but they put the mod back up. And I just have to wonder, again, you know, people tell me it's not a big deal, but there's this whole fucking nightmare around it every single time something like this happens. So I have to wonder what the fuck's up with that, huh? But
yeah,
it is a sign that things are changing because less games are doing this. More games are doing the opposite, and modding sites and different communities that have these very, you know, just feckless, pathetic people running them, they can't keep it up anymore because they don't have universal support. So they're having, you know, some of that power and choice stripped away from them, which was nice to see. It's also nice to, you know, now what are all the people that said that it didn't matter, it was so small, they have to just sit there and like kind of just sit and spin on it. It's like, okay, yeah, it doesn't matter, and they go about their thing and mod it. So that was nice.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple of quick ones to kind of run through.
Away.
I'm just gonna kind of do rapid fire because a lot of them are pretty small. So the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, that got a release date this week. That's coming out on October 2nd, and it's kind of funny. The article that I linked by Forbes, it is like the gist of it was like, Sucker Punch is tired of waiting for the looming release date of GTA 6, so they just said fuck it, and we're gonna say we're launching Ghost of Yotei on October 2nd. I thought that was pretty funny. Because like a lot of different studios that are trying to decide when to release their own game and the fall is a huge time for game releases. That's when GTA 6 is coming out, like at some point in that season, so no one knows when it is, and any game that releases around like in the same couple months as GTA 6 is going to get crushed. Like everybody knows that.
Yeah, there's a few exceptions. Yeah, there's a few exceptions as far as like if the genre gap is just very large there. Like if let's say for example, Expedition 33 came out like a week before GTA 6. I don't think there's going to be much conflict there. I just think that the player base is too different. But a lot of it, I think this happened with GTA 5 also. Is like people just want to avoid the release date. And there's some merit to that because like you lose the mainstream attention, you know, for whatever that's worth. Like there are tons of smaller indie developers and just smaller developers in general complaining right now about the fact that the Oblivion Remaster got shadow dropped because apparently between that and Expedition 33, just the wind of it was just taken out of the sails of a lot of small projects. So I get it, but no, yeah, I mean. October seems safe. I would say that this is like a November game, you know?
Yeah, probably.
See what happens.
So yeah, and like Ghost of Yotei and Tsushima, like they're both similar to GTA in the sense that they are in the same genre technically. So I guess they just sucker punch. Yeah,
they're close enough.
Yeah. So Ghost of Yotei is coming out October 2nd. Do you remember the game that I played for like a decent amount, Frostpunk? It was like
you mentioned it once or twice.
Yeah, so it's Frostpunk is a survival city builder, if that makes sense. Like it's your job as the person who builds the city to make sure that nobody like you don't freeze to death, like your civilization doesn't freeze to death because it takes place in this post-apocalyptic world where like the planet is in a perpetual ice age. So that game is developed by a studio called 11-Bit, and they announced that they are making a. So okay, Frostpunk was made in a proprietary engine that is no longer being updated or supported. So 11-Bit decided to remake the original Frostpunk in Unreal Engine 5, and they're calling it Frostpunk 1886. That's supposed to be coming out sometime in 2026, but I think it's kind of cool that they decided to go back and essentially rebuild the game from the ground up in a completely different engine, because people still like Frostpunk, and Frostpunk and Frostpunk 2 are very different. I actually like Frostpunk 1 a lot better, but that's neither here nor there. So they are going back and they're rebuilding the entire game in Unreal Engine 5, and that's supposed to come out in 2026. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. That's why I'm bringing it up.
No. It's always nice when the extra miles put into these games post-release.
Something else as far as release dates go, FBC Firebreak, the co-op shooter from Remedy that takes place in the Control universe. You remember this one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so it's launching on June 17th, which is pretty soon, like very soon. And it's coming, and it's going to be a day one Game Pass release too, which I think is pretty cool. So I know you expressed a little bit of interest in that, and it's on Game Pass, so it's free. We will definitely jump in and give that one a shot.
Absolutely.
As far as release dates go, that was all I really had for that. Shifting gears a little, yeah, go ahead.
Before you do, there's actually one release date that
Yeah.
that actually caught me by surprise. One of the games I was waiting for. I forgot what it's called. I was so excited by the fucking release date that I forgot what it was called. I linked it. Hold on. Wait. Where did I put it?
Is it Nitro something?
Yes, Nitro
Nitro
Express.
Express.
I always
Yeah.
get that mixed up with the other with Scramble Vice. I always forget which one's called. Yeah, that's one of the other games I'm excited. I was excited for. So I'm hoping I can go for 2 for 2 with this one. I hope this one. It's not gonna blow my socks off like some other games, but I'm really excited for it. Like that Metal Slug kind of anime shooter. It's releasing on my birthday, so it's got to be a good sign,
Hey. Yeah, definitely a good omen. We'll see how that one
Yeah.
pans out.
Yeah. Now you can move on to the news shit. I just had to
Okay,
sneak
yeah.
in
So
my-
shift. I mean, really isn't like news. It's just kind of an opinion that I found an article on N4G about Helldivers, which I actually agree with this opinion piece because I've been saying this for like at least 6 months.
Mhm.
So it is the sentiment of the Helldivers 2 community that it's been a year of borderline nothing as far as progression goes. And I've been saying this since basically the fucking beginning because the bones of the game are fantastic. Like it's a
Mhm.
ton of fun to play, especially with friends. It's a really good, competent game, which is high enough praise already for a lot of different studios, especially for a small studio like Arrowhead that had this complete smash success out of the blue, and really hasn't dropped any steam, except for kind of recently. The player numbers are dwindling a little bit, but basically the article says that there's nothing in the way of personal progression once you really unlock the stuff that you want as far as like ship upgrades or weapons or equipment. Like you
Mm.
can keep on collecting the samples and the currency, but you have absolutely nothing to spend them on, which
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember several rants of mine and Joe for that matter too,
Yes.
because we had the same complaint.
Oh, yeah.
And like I want to put more time into the game because I think it's a ton of fun.
Mhm.
But like I'm earning stuff that I can do nothing with. So like you need to give me a reason or give me a thing to spend these currencies on that I feel like I can be working towards something. Like and it's only got to be cosmetic, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's I just wanted to bring that up because like obviously I am not the only person with this opinion.
Of course.
And once you unlock basically all of the stratagems and ship upgrades, like that's it, you're done. You really there's nothing else to work towards. So
Yeah.
you can only shoot so many bugs for so long. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was
I mean,
really it. That
my
was I
my
wanted to just touch on it.
the only thing I'll comment on, and I might have mentioned this when we talked about the topic last time, but when you told me that they essentially wanted to update the game until it was in the Helldivers 3 state, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I get like now that some time has passed and you're telling me what's going on with that, I think that kind of signaled what not verbatim obviously, but like a potential path that they were going to take with the game going forward. And I think that was like instead of doing like monthly updates of small content, I have a feeling that was just like quarterly updates of larger content, and I don't think that that's necessarily what is going to ail the issues that you and Joe very passionately complained about quite a few times. I really do think, and it goes without saying because you've brought this up and we've spoken about it before, but they basically just need to do like separate to two teams or something. Whatever the structure's like in there, you need to have like two projects going on at once. One should be long-term, long-form content, the major updates and whatnot, right? And then the second one
Yeah.
should be like smaller content drops to keep people engaged. You don't. It's just I feel like again, it's just a missed opportunity to not have. I'm not telling them to go the Call of Duty route because that's just a pace they can't keep
Oh
up
God,
with,
no,
obviously.
please.
Yeah, that's just a pace they can't keep up with, but there needs to be like I mean, every now and again I see updates where it's just like, oh, 3 new types of armor and, log in this month and you get something. It's just it is baffling to me that they haven't really picked up that their pace isn't really good enough. I think they might have been blindsided a bit by the rebalancing they needed to do, and that might be part of it. But it's just I don't know, for what is essentially a Sony-owned game, you know, a Sony partner game. The fact that they haven't gotten like assistance, or not assistance, but like some kind of pressure or guidance or something to really lay it on, especially with the intentions they've laid out. It just seems like we're back in that missed opportunity camp, despite it being a very solid game, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
the
nothing
bones are
wrong.
there. Like I said, there's nothing to do after you've unlocked all the base stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and like, here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with a game being put in a state where like you don't play it for a while, right? Like
Yeah.
you're never gonna please the guy that sits down there and plays it 24/7, and that's not tenable, right? It's just I feel like they're asleep at the wheel a little bit, again, just based on what I've heard and what I've seen and what habits they fell into before.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like when the last expansion came out that introduced the new enemy faction, the Illuminate, like that
Yep.
was really cool, and that
Mm-hmm.
was like a perfect thing for them to do.
Yep.
But you know, they take way too long in between these major content updates, which it doesn't have to be a major content update. They could just add in a very small cosmetic store that charges the currencies that you already earn in the playable game, that would give you that carrot on a stick to chase, and that's all I
Mm-hmm.
really want. Um, but they haven't done it, so
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where the game goes. That's the thing about live service games. It's almost like it can be like, you know, what's the weather like today, or it could be like watching an ongoing car accident. You know.
Yeah.
So well, I guess we'll see where
Yeah.
the game goes.
All right, so let's see. I had two other things to talk about, and then I am done with my stuff for the week. The first one is Doom got a new trailer.
Yes.
Doom Dark Ages got a new trailer revealing the
Another new
Cosmic
trailer
Realm.
every
Yeah,
week.
so I actually think this is a really good sign, because I feel like when, and granted, like, you know, the devs shouldn't be showing off too much, and you know, leave
Yeah.
something to not the imagination, but like leave something for me to discover when I'm playing through the game for the first time. At the other side of that same token, the fact that they came out with another trailer, I feel like the developers at id like really have confidence in the game that they are creating, and
Mhm.
that's a net positive sign to me.
Yeah.
Doom 2016 was phenomenal. Might be in like my top 15 ever. Eternal was very, very, very good. I don't think it was as good as 2016, but it was still a great game. I have no reason to doubt that the Dark Ages is going to be up to par with the other two games.
Yeah.
And you know how like they said that 2016 was run and gun, Eternal was jump and
Jump
shoot,
and shoot.
and
Yep.
Dark Ages is stand and fight.
and
Like
fight.
for me personally, the stand and fight philosophy of the game resonates with me more than the other two. So
Mhm.
I am hyped about, like, I was trying to tiptoe around saying the word hyped, but I'm pretty hyped for the Dark Ages. So
Yeah.
I'm very,
Um.
very, very excited to
I
jump
mean,
in.
I've got a good feeling about this. I know we talked a bit about where the company's at, and you know, just how I think I was mainly talking about technical prowess at the time, but I do think they overall are very confident in what they're making.
Yeah.
I do think, again, and I'll reiterate this, that the stand and fight is going to be a bit more, you know, aside from what we talked about, which is that, oh, it feels more like classic Doom. It feels more like classic Doom. I do think stand and fight just feels better for the formula, regardless of comparisons to the classic Doom. Um, and I think that overall, based on everything I've seen, is that I do think it'll probably be better than Eternal. That's my guess. Whether or not
Yeah,
it's
I
better
would.
than 2016, we'll see. I have a feeling it
Yeah, I
could
would
be
argue
both,
that
but
as well.
I have a feeling at the end of the day we're going to be looking at, just from the gameplay focuses aside, I think Eternal will be not terrible, but the lowest of the three games that came out, right? It's actually
Most likely.
funny. I saw a headline from the Rolling Stone, because every magazine out there trying to stay alive has a fucking gaming section now. And I think their comment was something like, Doom, the new Doom feels like the old Dooms and not in a good way, and I'm just like, oh, perfect. That means the game's better than I was expecting. If if the Rolling Stone or whatever other rag has something bad to say, that probably means they're taking it a step in the right direction, you know. So
yeah.
not quite like I told you, I'm gonna play it. You're definitely gonna play it. I'm going in with no expectations because I liked Doom 2016, and I enjoyed Eternal for what it was. But it's not like a burning passion me waiting to play this. Just it looks very good, and the fact that it's a lot like classic Doom has me more excited than I was for 2016 or Eternal when they were new.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I mean, it comes out very, very soon. It comes out in like 2.5 weeks, so
Yeah.
it's right around the corner. I'm very excited for the Dark Ages. Okay, last thing that I have for this week is Dune Awakening got a new story trailer, and I don't know what this game is really trying to be because it's marketing itself as a survival MMO, which already is just kind of weird, just given the genres of like both of those. Like I feel like they can't coexist in the same bubble. But then they show off this story trailer that like it looks like it has a very tightly focused, cohesive narrative that you play through, like you would any single player game. But you and I both know that one, a survival game, and two, an MMO are never like that. So it seemed to me as an as one as a lifelong gamer, and two as someone who I consider myself to be very educated in this industry. It's the marketing seems misleading. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
So I doubt you watched the trailer that I linked, but
I've seen short clips, but I did not sit through the entire thing in one sitting.
It's like a 2.5 minute, 3 minute trailer, and it looks as if they're making like a tightly focused single player game, and that's just not what they're making. So I don't know how that's gonna play out. It still looks interesting to me. I'm still gonna try it when it comes out. They're actually supposed to be hosting an open beta on May 8th, I want to say. So I'm gonna jump in and see what it's all about. But I have never really liked survival games, and I am worried that will bleed over into this game because, as I've said to you in the past, I'm a huge fan of the Dune universe just overall. I read the books. I love the movies. I think they're phenomenal movies. But for them to take a game in this kind of a direction in the Dune universe, and then you're going to put this trailer out that's a story trailer that looks as if it is a like, oh, go on mission A, go on mission B, go on mission C, and has a very linear narrative. You and I both know that's not how survival games play out. That is most definitely not how MMOs play out. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm still going to try it, but I'm seeing some red flags, and I'm not thrilled about that.
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
So we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, that was the last thing I really wanted to mention. If you have something else, then I am all ears.
I didn't hear too much either. I will say that just the last part of my week was taken up by Oblivion and Expedition 33. So like two lengthy RPGs that kind of like clouded what I was able to see. That plus I think it was relatively speaking a slower news week, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
The only other thing I noted, and this is less news and more reception, the Until Dawn movie came out, and
wait, what?
The Until Dawn movie.
No, I know what the game is. I don't. They made a movie?
I mentioned it very briefly a while ago. It was a news whole thing I did, and it's just like I remember thinking like, what the fuck is the point? It's already one of those cinematic driven choice, almost like there's a subgenre of games. I don't want to call them point and click because even though some of them have those aspects of them, it's just a shared DNA where you move around and you interact with objects and characters, and then you move from set piece to set piece with sometimes you have QTEs and shit.
Hmm.
kind of like the Telltale games, right? And Until Dawn was very much like that. And say what you will about Until Dawn, I'm assuming you haven't played it.
No, no,
Yeah.
I haven't.
I mean, it's good for what it is. But it's one of those games that because it did well for what it is, it kind of like blew up. Not in a way where it's like, oh, it's selling millions of copies and it's like the new hotness or whatever, but like internally studios were like, oh god, we got to do more with this immediately. Look how well it did. And that's why you got that really crappy remake, I don't even remember, that looks, that's again just another one of those mishandled re-release projects that is arguably worse off in some areas than others. That's why you got all that
Mhm.
weird VR DLC for the first game, and it all culminated, I think there's a second one coming out, but it all culminated in this movie, which is basically pointless just because of the genre
God.
it's in. And even
Yeah.
even the outlets, like, I'm just going based on reviews because I really I skimmed the film from what I could see. Just going from the outlets, everyone's just going like, even the people that are like that don't play games, even these cinematic ones, but like will go out and watch the movies and judge it. Even there, they're just like, go play the game instead. This is kind of pointless. You know, sure, it's a story you heard before, and you know it's a spectacle with the gore and whatnot, but it's just go play the game. You
Yeah.
know, that was really it. And quite frankly, I don't know what the point of this in a movie theater setting would be, because the whole draw of Until Dawn, aside from its cinematic experience, is you have 8 characters, and the point is to play the game as well as possible so that all 8 of them survive until dawn. And like that's that's the whole fucking point, right? So like, do you just arbitrarily kill characters? Like, I don't understand how that works. It was just a misfire, and I'm glad it's not doing well, because I fucking hate it when they do this. That was the only thing that I heard about. Just middling reviews for a game movie that really should have been made. What else is new?
Yeah. 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 Game movies are never are seldom like even
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah.
So
I know a
not
lot of
really
people like
surprised.
to say, yeah, I know a lot of people like to say like we're in the era of great, adaptations, and I'm just like,
No.
most of the adaptations you're thinking of are just like above like the bar of passable. Like, there's some good ones, don't get me wrong, like ones that you can watch and you'll enjoy, but none of them are like to the full potential of the brand it's representing, I guess is the best way to put it. Like,
Yeah, that's a good
it's
point.
just, yeah, it's even,
Or
I
a
know,
good way to say it. Well said.
yeah, like that's the best way I can put it. Is it's not like, I know everybody loved the Mario movie as an example, and I thought it was okay, but it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like you're cutting out game music tracks and putting in pop songs. You have Seth Rogen in the fucking film, who flat out said he didn't
He
want to put
wasn't
on a
even
voice for the
trying to
character.
play a different character. He was just
Not
Seth Rogen. They
exactly.
slapped his voice on Donkey Kong.
But here's the thing. He was talking about it pre-release. He said, I'm not going to do a voice. I'm just going to be me. And like, that's not like a red flag to you at all. Like, I'm not saying the movie's terrible, but it's far from a Mario game quality, I guess you could say. And like the same thing with the Sonic films. And Minecraft is just a meme fest of a film, and the Zelda movie probably won't be that hot either. So, just not much has changed. It's just we've gone from horrendously bad to passable. Well, you know what? Who knows? Maybe that Michael Bay Outrun film will be good. I fucking
Oh,
love Outrun.
God.
I
you
love
really?
Outrun so much. I love it. It is my favorite, if not one of my favorite arcade racers. Outrun 2 in particular, I fucking love, because like it took that formula of arcade racer but added mission modes and all the different modes. And it's like it's just great. I fucking love Outrun. And I don't know, maybe the Outrun film will be good, because it's like, how do you fuck that up? It's just cars driving fast and occasionally getting into accidents if you fuck up, and that seems right up his alley. So maybe the Outrun film will be good, because that got announced like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was recent.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's about it then.
Pretty much.
Cool. Well, I guess that about does it. This was episode 53 of the Pregame Network podcast. So if you stuck around till the end, appreciate it. And we will be back next week as usual. Talk about all the other bullshit that happens this week in gaming. Hopefully we get another. Well, I mean, we're not going to get another Expedition 33 quality
Yeah, no,
title
it's like-
in that time.
I'll
But
be pleasantly surprised, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see everyone next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Go play Expedition 33.